Hey, what's happening, dudes? Welcome back to the channel. You're watching Duty's Daggers. Before we get into it, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. You'll be happy that you did it. And also follow me on Instagram at duties_daggers. So, we have a review today of the Leatherman Free P2, which is this guy here. These are my other two Leatherman that I have here at the moment. I'm just going to get them out briefly to show size comparison and a couple other comparisons on their tools, but this is mainly going to be a review on the Free P2. So let's get them out here. This is my main carry, has been for years, the Leatherman Rebar. And here we have the Leatherman Free P2. And this one here is the Leatherman Rev. This is a more affordable Leatherman, less tools, kind of smaller. I bought it to keep in my truck in my EDC pouch, so it doesn't get a ton of use. But if you have it, then there's a size comparison for you. They're all right around the same size. The Free P2 is slightly longer than all of them, but width-wise, they're all pretty much the same. This one's a little bit thinner this way, but all relatively similar. Now, the Rev does come with a pocket clip, as does the Free P2. The Rebar does not. Let's open them up real quick. You can get, compare them in the open position here. There you go. There you have it. So, let's get into the Free P2 here. Right off the bat, it is my opinion that this Leatherman is really meant for light homeowner use. By that I mean this thing is not really designed for hard use. You know, maybe you're a contractor, you're a construction worker, you're a welder. You know, you're doing whatever you're doing that you're putting a lot of stress on the tool and you're using it a lot. In my opinion, this is not really the best Leatherman for that type of work. The Rebar is fantastic for that type of work, and it's the reason why this is my main carry. So if you're not hard on your Leathermans, or you're reasonably hard on your Leatherman, and this could be the one for you. The other main selling point of the Free P2 is that it's all one-handed use. So if you have a job or a hobby that, where you need to be able to open these tools one-handed, this is the Leatherman for you. Absolutely. It takes a little bit of getting used to how to, manipulate it and get the tools out one-handed. But once you get it, it's really actually pretty easy. Let me let my dog out. Every time, man. Every single time. All right. So that's my general feeling about the Free P2. It's got some really cool features, and I wanted to, I was considering buying one of these. This one's not mine. This was lent to me because I really just wanted to check it out and see what it was all about. And I wish there was a little bit different so that I could carry it, but it's just not. And when I'm around the house doing chores, I just, if I'm not at work, I don't really have a big use for carrying a Leatherman. So let me demonstrate some of the one-handed opening and closing techniques here, and then we'll get into the tools. So the best way that I've found to open it is I press my thumb in between here to separate them. Then I flick over the top, and that's it. You're done. Closing is a little bit slower. You just have to kind of break that detent and shut it. Easy as that. You get a nice satisfying click. So it's pretty darn easy. You could almost kind of use it like a bala song too, if I can do it. Almost like a bala song. So that's cool. Now how the one-handed tools work is There's this little area up here that you press on with your thumb, and that pops them out. But it pops all of them out. So in order to select a specific one, you kind of have to use these fingers back here and your thumb. You kind of cycle through them, and say I want the ruler back there. You just kind of cycle through them and then choose which one you want and pop it out. Actually, really easy. All the tools are locking, so they all lock in the open position. To unlock them, you just pull back on this tab, and it unlocks. Now, I mean, you can close them one-handed easily too. You just use your thumb, use your pointer finger, and push it down. Same with the other side, which has the knife, the Phillips, and the flathead. Just pop them out, select which one you want, and pop it out. So once you get the hang of it, this thing is really, really easy to operate one-handed, which is really, really freaking cool, man. I mean, Leatherman has really figured out a way to do that in a intuitive way. This Leatherman is really a feat of engineering. There's a lot going on in here, and I still haven't really figured out all of its secrets and how it works yet. I know basically how it works, but there's a lot going on in here. So let's talk about the pliers. We have needle nose, we have the regular pliers, we have the replaceable, needle nose, regular pliers, wire cutters, and then down there at the bottom is where I think they call like the thick wire cutters or whatever. They are replaceable. They're made from 154 cm, so they are replaceable on my rebar as well. And I have never had to replace these, so they are very, very tough. I've had this thing for years and still haven't replaced them, so they're really good. The whole head here is not quite as robust as on some of the other Leatherman. You can see here on the rebar, it's just a little beefier. But they do work just fine, absolutely. And then back here, we have some wire crimper, electrical crimpers here, back behind the pivot. So those are the pliers. Let's go through the tools one by one. We have the flathead, which actually is also a package opener. You can see one side of it is kind of sharpened. It's like a very steep chisel grind there. So clamshell packaging, slip that in there and open it that way. So that's cool. Making the most of a tool with putting two features into it. Then we have another double feature. We have the Phillips head and a cap lifter. Now, in my opinion, this is not the best Phillips head. On the rebar here, you can see that we have a full 3D Phillips head, which works much, much better. But you'll get by with this one. It's all right. Another thing I do like is that it's a very thick tool. There's a lot of meat on this guy. Same with the flathead, so you can put some torque on that thing, and it's not you don't have to worry about it twisting or bending. And then on this side, we also have the blade, which I actually like. I don't particularly like that it's serrated and a straight blade. I wish it was just all a regular blade. But I do really like the shape of the blade. It's kind of a sheep's foot blade style. You have a nice low point. I think this is a good blade shape for utility, which is really what the knife is for. Utility. I like it better than the blade on my rebar actually. You can see the blade here is just more of a drop point style blade, which is fine. But I like this blade shape a bit better. I like that it's a wider blade than on the rebar. And locks in place. You close it the same way you close all the other tools. Yeah, and it's easy to pop out with one hand. Very easy. You got that slot milled in on the top there. Grips your finger. Pop it out very easily. Let's move to the other side. We have a pretty big pair of scissors. Works very well. I like that you don't have to flip, on some Leatherman you have to flip this part over to get it to close, but on this one it just closes just in the position that it's in here. How do I close this? What's happening? Oh yeah, I always get confused. You have to use this one to close the scissors. So let's see what else we got here. We have a file. Not a very big file. You know, I much prefer the file on the rebar here. It's a full-size file, as you can see. But, you know, like I said, this thing is for light use, and for light use, this thing will be just fine. We have the ruler / flathead and / wire stripper, which is right here. So that's good. You know, I would never use this ruler, so it's good that it has other uses. We have the flathead, could be used as a scraper as well, and then the wire stripper there. So that's another good use of space. Then we have the awl, which I think is a pretty decent awl. It's kind of weird that it's not a point. I think they tried to just make this into a small flathead as well. On the rebar, the awl has an actual point to it. But, you know, I don't really use the awl almost never anyways, so, you know, not a huge deal. And then lastly, on this side, we have the can opener. Is there any other uses to that? I guess it could be a cap lifter too. Probably just a can opener though. Not a very sharp edge on the can opener. The one on the rebar does have a sharper edge on it. You can see it's an actual edge. On this one, it's kind of I don't know. There's no edge, which is kind of weird. I don't know why. I don't know why they choose to do that. So those are the tools. Let's look a little bit. Let's check out the construction on this thing. So we have a lot of magnets in this deal, and that is another reason why I was hesitant to get this thing, because you know, for my job, I'm doing a lot of grinding metal, and you know, you get it covered in a fine metal powder. And I was worried that these magnets would just attract, you know, a bunch of that metal powder and just get caked up, and I'd always be cleaning it out, and it'd be all gritty and you know, undesirable. But if you're not doing a lot of metal work, then this should be totally fine. So we have magnets that are holding this together, which are located right here behind these little plastic coverings. And I believe the reason that plastic is there is to provide some separation between the magnets. If it was just bare magnets, I think this would be too strong. As it is, I think it's really the perfect strength. You know, you can't easily shake it open. If you give it a good pop, you can. But I think it's perfect. You know, you could open it this way too. Just pop it open like that. But this thing is not going to accidentally, you know, open on you. So that's very good. Now the other magnets we have are actually holding the tools closed in their closed positions. It's kind of hard to see in there, but there is a magnet in there, and it holds the tools shut. You can almost kind of see it sucking the tool back in. At the very last second, it kind of just pops in. Not super noticeable, but it is there, holding the tools shut. And as far as I know, those are the only magnets on the Leatherman. Now there's this cool little mechanism that gives you that nice click, and it's this guy right here. You can see there's a notch milled into the handles here, one on both sides. And when you apply pressure, it pops into, you know, this little dealio pops into that slot. And there's a little bit more going on inside that pivot to make that happen, to get the resistance. I watched a video on it, but, you know, from a layman's perspective, that's how it works. You know, it's just this little pin is popping into that slot. it's really cool. I really like that, how it feels, how it sounds. It's just nice. It's just a good sound. It's a really cool sound. As far as ergonomics, it's relatively comfortable. If you hold it kind of farther back, you kind of run into this area here. There's a little pokey right there on both sides. And this area here is not the most comfortable. So if you're kind of choked back gripping it, that is a pretty good hot spot. But if you grip it up here, not a huge deal. Although if you did have bigger hands than I do, you're probably going to be, hitting these hot spots, if even if you're just gripping it, with a regular grip. So that's something to be aware of. I'm not sure what these little nubs are. Let's see. Okay, I think those nubs are what keeps you from getting too much side-to-side motion this way when it's closed. In fact, I'm positive. You can see them kind of intersecting each other when it closes. And we get a little bit of movement here, but I believe those nubs is what keeps it from, getting a lot of movement side to side. Speaking of that, in the open position, this is not the tightest Leatherman. You can see how much play I have, and I'm really not muscling it very hard. I don't think that would really affect much unless you're doing a lot of grabbing and twisting with the Leatherman, which I actually do a lot of that. And you can see for comparison, I mean, I'm putting like almost all my strength into this. It's very solid. The rebar is very solid. So that just reinforces my point that this is meant for light homeowner type use. So if you're not trying to twist out a screw or something, then you shouldn't need to worry about this. But it is there. We do have some play. Excuse me. I'm still recovering. So yeah, ergonomics, okay. Like I said, we have some hot spots back here towards the rear. But, everything is nicely rounded up here. Everything's pretty comfortable. Since you don't have tools on the inside, in the open position, there's nothing really out here to bother you. On the rebar, since the tools are on the inside, when it's open, their tools are on the outside. But, the rebar is built in such a way that there's still nothing hurting your hand. In all honesty, this rebar is more comfortable than the Free P2. Much more, in fact. There's absolutely nothing on the outside here to hurt your hand. Here, we have these little sharp guys back there. This pocket clip is removable. If you don't like it, you can just use the pouch. If this was mine, I would get one of these leather ones, which I like much better than the nylon. But this is what it's going to come with, is one of these nylon cases. They work, functionally they're fine. I just like the look of the leather ones better. You can find them, I don't know, I'm not sure exactly where. I got this one at my local Army surplus store, but you can find them online. They're made in America. It's a really good sheath. And yeah, that's really about it. I like the look of the Leatherman. I like this kind of milling pattern they have going on the outside here. I think it looks really cool. If I needed just a light duty Leatherman, I would absolutely get one of these, because it is really fun to operate. I love clicky clacky metal things, and this is really just a joy to hear and to mess around with and to use. But I just can't justify buying one only for fun. If I bought one, I would not really be putting it to work, and it's just not for me. I wish it was, but it's not. What else? I think that's about it. This is a Leatherman Free P2. There's also a Free P4 that has more tools and is slightly larger. So, if you're interested in having more tools than you see here, but you like this whole one-handed operation deal, then check out the Free P4. I think that'll about do it. The Free P2. Thanks for watching, folks. Well, actually, you know what? Let's get out all the tools. Well, I guess I can't really on this one. I was gonna say let's get out all the tools on all the Leatherman, but these are only accessible while it's closed. But I guess we could do this. Do something like this. Put that one there. Put this one here. Kind of fan them out, like so. Man, I really love this rebar. I am thinking of upgrading to the Surge though. Yeah, this rebar has really served me just so well. I am surprised how well it's held up. It's really quite amazing, in fact. I'm really hard on that thing, and nothing is broken, nothing is bent. It's still stiff. The pivots are not loose. It's really exactly how I got it, which is pretty impressive. So, there you go. Lots of tools right here. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Adios.